Today is August 10th, 2020. I want to apologize for not having Friday's video up. I had a video up, it was just the wrong video. From now on, I will always say the date at the beginning. If it's not the correct date, you should email me immediately and say, hey, the wrong video is posted. We're going to click here for today's lesson. One thing I want to show you about the home screen, though, before we go to the lesson is right here is your Zoom schedule. Monday, fifth period has a meeting at 12:30. Seventh period has a meeting at 1:30. And then Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. These meetings are optional. They're really mainly for if you have questions or if you're not sure about something, we can answer those questions during that. You can also email me at my email address. So again, today's August 10th, 2020. Don't take your attendance here. Students will calculate a number's square or square root. Students will define the rational numbers, irrational numbers, and real numbers. Some of this stuff is in the previous video, so if you didn't get a chance to do that, you might consider going back and watching that video. Today's joke is, man, this guy just goes on forever. And the reason that's funny is because that's pi, and it goes on forever. Remember that failure is an event, not an option. What that means is we all make mistakes. Just because you make a mistake does not mean you're a failure. You got your PDF here and you have your assignment. And then you can click here to go back to the home screen. I'm going to go ahead and play today's lesson, and then we'll come back to both of these in just a moment.
Real numbers, square roots, and squares is what the topic will be today. Rational numbers, if you remember from last time, are any number that you can write as a fraction, decimals that can be written as fractions that either end or repeat. They don't have to do both, they just have to do one or the other. Remember, natural numbers, whole numbers, and integers are also rational numbers. An irrational number then would be a number which is usually a decimal, written as a decimal, that does not end and does not repeat. However, sometimes it is written as a square root that do not equal a natural number. And pi are the most common irrational numbers. So when you're thinking about this, you should be thinking pi and square root 28, but square root of 16 is 4, so it's a rational number. A real number is both rational and irrational numbers. As you can see from the graphic, real numbers include both the rational numbers and the irrational numbers. Here are some examples of what a rational number is. So the number 1, the number -7, the number -3.4, 5.88888, continuing on forever, is a repeating decimal. The 0.8888 makes it repeat, so that means you can write it as a fraction, which makes it rational. 3.14. Now this is a tricky one. We sometimes estimate pi as 3.14 in math, but because 3.14 ends, it is considered a rational number. The square root of 36 will equal 6. So that means it is a rational number. The square root of 144 is 12. That means it is a rational number. Now, if you're not very good at the square roots, the easiest way is to just pull up Desmos Scientific Calculator, hit square root 36, and it'll tell you the answer is 6. The square root of 400 is 20. 0 is a whole number. 0.222 repeats. Now, pi, we've already mentioned, is one of the most famous square root irrational numbers there is. The square root of 35, the reason that's irrational is because if I type it in the calculator, square root 35, it's going to give me a decimal, 5.91607978.3. What the calculator fails to tell you is that decimal actually keeps going. Same thing with square root of 399. It's going to give you a decimal that doesn't repeat. 2.3768 means that it's continuing forever. There's no pattern. 53 or 0.53276 is the same thing. There's no pattern and it continues forever. Square root of 47, if you type it in the calculator, will also come out to be a decimal that continues forever. On top of reviewing rational and irrational numbers, we're going to take a look at square numbers. So 1 squared means 1 times 1. 2 squared means 2 times 2. And these here are the answers for all of the perfect squares from 1 to 20. You'll need those for your assignment today. So make sure that you have this PDF pulled up. It'll help you out a lot on your assignment. A square in mathematics means you multiply a number by itself. When you square a number, the answer is always positive. It doesn't matter. It's always going to be positive. Square roots in mathematics means what number times itself. So when we talk about the square root of 1, we're talking about 1 times itself. The square root of 4 is 2 times itself. Now this graphic is actually a little tricky because really the whatever number times itself will be is what is underneath the radical sign. Here's the tricky part. There are actually 2 answers for every square root. There's a positive and a negative answer. So if you think about this, -1 times -1 is equal to 1. So in other words, -1 squared is equal to +1. Most math teachers will indicate if they want both the positive and negative answers by showing this symbol here. If this symbol's here, they want both the positive number and negative answer. In this class, if there's not the positive and negative sign, I only want the positive. To be honest, most of the time, you're going to give the positive answer. Very rarely will we use this at all. Square roots that are not perfect. I've already shown you this, but there is not a way to just say that's the answer. So what I suggest is using this calculator on Desmo's scientific calculator so that you can type in the square root of 245 and you'll see that this is the answer. You will need to do this on your assignment today. One thing.
All right, so we'll go back to something. I want to show you something real quick before you move on to your assignment. The assignment's here. You're going to click right here, take your assignment. What I would do while I'm taking this assignment is I'm going to pull it up, and then I would half screen so that I got this, and I would click like this is normally like this when you guys pull it up. I would click here and look at this PDF because a lot of times the answers to the questions are going to be in this PDF. So did you watch the video? Hopefully the answer is yes. I'll also post it right there. Match the square roots to its answer. Square root of 81. So let's go to square roots. 81. It's 9. Okay. Square root of 32. It's not on here. So I'm going to pull up Desmo's calculator, and I'm going to do square root 32, 5.6 something. So right there, 5.6. And then the next one says 256. So I would go back here, and I'd say, oops, 256 is 16. And then I'd see that 153 isn't on here. Or if you don't want to do that, just do this. go square root 153, 12 point something, so 12.369. Clear it all, do the next one. Square root 121 is 11. Square root 75, 8.60. And then go on to the next question. What's the value of 7 squared? Well, you could use the calculator for that too. You could clear it and you could go 7 squared. It's 49. So right there. I know these. 15 squared is 225. A rational number that can be expressed as a fraction, a decimal that ends or repeats. Now let's check this out. Let's go back to the definitions up here. A rational number can be written as a fraction. Decimals that can be written either have to end or repeat. So a rational number is any number that can be expressed as a fraction. It says it right there. That's true. A irrational number is any number that can be expressed as a fraction. Well, that can't be true. That's what a rational number is. So that has to be false. And then you're going to submit your quiz. And you should get a 10 out of 10 on this quiz because I just gave you all the answers. This benefits the people that are watching the video. I hope you're having a good day. This will be the last time that I give all the answers to a quiz and show you how to pull it up and look up your answers.